Coach, as far as, of course, you got the big win the other day, but how important is to put that behind you now as y'all get ready for that?
Well, I don't know if you put it behind you, I think you build on it, right? And that's the biggest thing. You build on what a win like that does for you confidence-wise. You build on what it does for you spirit-wise. And again, we know we're playing an extremely tough team. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The similarities, there's tremendous athleticism. There's a great burst. They play both ends. Memphis was getting 30% of their points in transition. Kentucky's getting 32% of their points in transition. The difference right now, though, is physicality. Kentucky is a tremendously physically aggressive team. They've shot 100 more free throws than their opponent. You know, sign of a really good team is when you're making more free throws than your opponent. They're doing that, and they just happen to be doing it at 80%, which is, we haven't played anybody. We played a team at 79, but we haven't played anybody at 80%. So really, a lot of times with Kentucky, part of their offense, part of the best part of their offense a lot of times is the second shot. Right now it's getting fouled, and they do a great job of driving into you, getting positioning, trying to hit you, trying to get the call, and they do an excellent job of that. They always have. And you've got to be able to deal with that. You've got to be able to keep the ball in front of you. You've got to have verticality. You know, so I can go on and on about the things we got to focus on, but the bottom line is we want to move forward and remember what that feeling felt like, not just winning the game, but most importantly, how we did it, you know, and the toughness that these guys had to have on the road to do that, the perseverance that they had to have to do that, and the belief that they had to have to do that.
How did so many young guys get so much poise late in these big games like that?
I just think we're still very young, right? It's a win on the road against a really good team. I mean, we have 9 freshmen. That hasn't changed. And every game, you hope it's just a little bit more experience that they have, a little bit more knowledge, but most importantly, confidence and belief. And when you win a game like that, or you win some close games, SMU helped us. Coming back from behind against Georgia Southern, that helped us. You know, those kind of things help you get better. You know, hopefully how poorly we played at Arizona State or how poorly we played against Dayton help you. You realize that you can't play that way and compete at this level. I mean, you've got to be, you're not going to be great. You've got to be consistent. We made jump shots that day too, and we haven't always done that. You've got to make jump shots if you're going to win on the road. You've got to do a lot of things on the road, but you've got to make jump shots. And we were able to do that in that game. But they're growing, they work. They're growing every day, and I think that's the most important thing you can have with any type of team that's this young.
Did you like how they responded in the 48 hours since in terms of getting to work for the next game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we didn't do a ton of live yesterday, but the bounce was excellent, and we'll go today now. And yeah, I thought they were really good. We spent a lot of time in the film room, and we went right to the film room. You know, when we got back together, it wasn't let's talk about this, let's talk about that. We went right to what Kentucky does, because there's not enough time in 2 days to get ready for all of that. So we better get ready for the spirit and tenacity and the energy that they play with, and then try to get a feel for that physicality.
Can you talk about the free throw disparity at Memphis? Can you win? I would think you probably wouldn't be able to win many games with that sort of free throw disparity against a team like that.
It is what it is, right? We overcame. We've got to get better shooting free throws. We've got to get better getting fouled. You know, we're not a team that fouls a lot. All right, when you look at the numbers, that could go up as this league goes up, because you've got to be physical to compete in this league. I mean, this really what it's coming down to now is there's no getting around it. If you don't block out, if you don't have 5 guys rebounding, if you're not willing to rebound, you're gonna have a hard time playing, right? I mean, you are, and it's the same thing with fouls. You're gonna have to play with fouls. It's part of it, but it is what it is, and we just leave it at that and get ready for the next one.
This game has been sold out for a long time. Do you see tomorrow night's game as sort of a living up to your vision? I mean, obviously it's going to be packed out. It's the top 25 matchup.
That's all part of this process. It really is. I mean, Kentucky sells out wherever they go, right? And we're excited about it. Excited that ESPN's here. Excited that Jay Billis, Carl Ravitch, Marty Smith, the guys like that are covering a game like this. I think that's a big deal, and but it's all part of it. I mean, I'm happy for the fans. I'm happy for our team getting a chance to feel what they felt the other day, and we turn right back around now and have to do it in an even better way. But I don't want to. This is a process for us. It's a huge process, and I've been a part of processes, right? And I think every time that mentally as a coach, you lose perspective on where you're at, you set yourself up for failure. So I have perspective on what we've got to get better at every day. I don't always have a lot of patience, but I think you have to have perspective. It's hard to coach with perspective, but you better have it, because we got a lot of young guys out there that have a lot to learn, and they are learning. But I'm excited about the atmosphere. We're going to need every one of those people to have a chance to compete in this game.
Following up on that, with all the youth on this roster, is there any concern in terms of the moment becoming too big at all?
We can't control that. Yeah, we can't control that. I mean, it's you play at this level, you're going to play in a lot of big moments. And I think the most important thing is that I'm more concerned about the stakes are high every game, but how do we stay in character? Okay, staying in character is not worrying about how I'm going to score, how many times I'm getting the ball. Staying in character is moving without the ball. Staying in character is setting a good screen. Staying in character is hitting the open man. Staying in character is understanding that if I want to really play, I better get on the glass on both ends. You know, those are the kind of things, and you try to get your team to focus on what they have a chance to control. They can't control how bright the lights are and all that. They can't control what the other team is going to do. They can control their attitude. They can control their mindset. They can control their energy. And I think that's the most important thing. You try to get any team, but especially a young team, to understand that. Because I think anxiety hit us early the other day. Like, I think the adrenaline of the game, I mean, I think it hit both teams a little bit. Like, it was almost like early on in the game, it was like the air went out of both teams a little bit. Now, both got it back. You know, but they have a young team too. And I think when you have youth, you've got that. Like, you've got to be able to stay even keeled as you go with it. That's why I just continue to understand all this is such part of the process.
What stands out to you about the way Cal has handled his team this year and what they've been able to do?
They're outstanding defensively. I mean, he can go to, he's got so many different things that he can go to, right? And he's got his baseline screening action. They are physical. I mean, they are extremely physical. And now he's got a 4-5 that can step out and shoot in the pick and pop with Sestina, which gives him an added bonus there. But their guards are so active. They are so quick. I was talking to a coach that recently played him that said, film doesn't do justice to how explosive and how big Maxey is, right? And so, like, that just puts another thing in your head, right? Like, they're so explosive. Quickly, he's playing at a high level. Obviously, Ashton Hagens is one of the best lead guards in the country. Maxey has got a burst that's enormous. They can go to the front line and be deep. Keon Brooks has stepped up. So, John always, to me, he gets a lot of talent. He gets a lot out of that talent. All right? Very few times are guys in his program not going to, they're going to produce, right? Or they're not going to play, right? And I think when you've coached as long as he has and you've coached as successful a level that he has, he gets them better. And they really understand how to make it about each other. And I think that's what he does best, and I think he's doing it again this year.
Ray and Severe both talked about the late game situations you put them in practice as something that's benefited them recently. How much, do those help a team develop that belief they can win, especially when you get a team?
I think it's huge, because some of the first times we did it, and it's a 7-point game with 1:50 to go, and I'm saying we don't need a 3. Guys are like looking at me like I've got 3 heads, right? No, you don't need a 3. You don't need a 3 until you need a 3, right? And it's so important for guys to understand how long the game is. And I think young players struggle with how long the game is. How much time is there in the game, right? And how you shorten the game or how you lengthen the game. So I think trying to get them to understand that mindset is more important than any scheme. It's more important than any play. It's getting them to understand that there's so many things that are there that they can control if they just put their mind to it and if they work together on it. So I think those things are absolutely paramount, and we're definitely behind in that area, with a younger team, and we're trying to do more with it. But with so many things that this group has had to get, situation basketball has been one of those things that has not been as much of a focal point as it needed to be. But it is now, and it's something that hopefully they're growing from.
Maybe 2 more questions.
How would you assess Anthony's play as he comes into this game?
Oh, I just think it's with any young player, but especially one as good as him, and I've said this before, so again, this is all part of the process. Don't predetermine, right? We're trying to get him to understand, don't predetermine the game. I shouldn't say the game. Don't predetermine the play, right? And what we want him to do is play with his eyes up more and be ready for the catch and shoot more. When he puts it down, what he's so unique at, he can go both ways with the ball. Very rarely can somebody that age go equally that well, right or left with the ball. So a lot of times when you have that kind of weaponry inside of your game, you got to take advantage of it. And again, it's just getting him to read the game, understand how much more efficient he is when he attacks, I thought he made some tremendous passes the other day. You know, more and more people are commenting about the passing. That's one of his great strengths. And I think he enjoys it. What we want to get him to continue to understand is, like I said, don't predetermine an offense. Get on that glass on both ways and keep being the stellar defender that he can become for multiple times in a possession. Not just one or two times in a possession, but the multiple times in a possession, because he's certainly capable of that.
With a second straight game against a top 25 team, how much do you see tomorrow night as an opportunity to prove, to America that Saturday's win wasn't a fluke?
Then we start getting to where it becomes bigger than what it is, right? It's the next game on the schedule. It's not about proving anything to America. It's about getting ready to play a great team. It really is. It's about playing Kentucky, which is an outstanding program year in and year out. The benchmark of this league, long before I ever got here, okay? No question about that. It is the benchmark. It is what people look to, right? And so it's a chance to compete against that in the best possible way, coming off a great win for the program. And one that we know that this is just another example. There's similarities in all really good teams, but there's also differences in every really good team. And us figuring out how we deal with that. But it's the next game on our schedule, and it's a big one, but so will Saturdays, and so will next Wednesday against Tennessee, and so will the following Saturday against Mississippi State. When you're in leagues like this, every night is a big night. All right? Thanks a lot. Thank you.